the secret Elon Musk kept hidden for years. I want to share a story from a chapter of my life I've rarely spoken about publicly, a time when I was young, driven, and bursting with ambition, yet faced with a decision that shook me to my core. This wasn't about business strategies, technological breakthroughs, or public image. It was a matter of the heart. Before I dive deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever had to let go of someone you loved, knowing it was the right thing to do? A choice that shattered your heart but protected theirs? If you've ever faced such an impossible decision, type "let go" in the comments. I want to see how many of us have carried that weight. I was around 30, living life at full throttle, chasing dreams, building visions, believing I could conquer everything simultaneously. Then, amidst the chaos, I met someone who changed everything. Her name isn't important here because this story isn't about her details. It's about the intensity of what I felt, the way one person can light up parts of your world you never knew existed. We fell in love in a way that felt destined. Every conversation, every laugh, every quiet moment together confirmed that we were meant to find each other. She was patient, kind, and had a humor that cut through my most tangled thoughts. In her presence, the noise of the world faded away. For a while, I believed love like this could transform everything, make life simpler, lighter, more bearable. But reality, as it often does, demanded its own terms. My life was impossible to pause. Constant travel, relentless work, and towering goals left little room for personal connection. I wanted to be there for her, to give her the love she deserved. But I realized my presence could never be steady. Each day, the weight of that truth grew heavier. I remember lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with the choice before me. On one side, the possibility of holding on to her, stealing moments whenever I could, knowing I would inevitably fail her in ways I couldn't avoid. On the other, the choice to let her go, to step back completely and spare her the heartbreak that would come if I continued living at my relentless pace. The moral tension was unbearable. This wasn't about desire or convenience. It was about responsibility, emotional responsibility. Could I claim to love someone if I knew I could never be fully present? Could I accept my own selfishness in love's name, knowing it would hurt her beyond repair? Every instinct screamed to hold on, to fight, to bend reality itself if I could. But beneath desire and fear was a quiet voice of reason whispering that true love sometimes means letting go. One cold, still evening, I finally accepted the truth. We walked together, city lights reflecting on wet streets, talking about everything and nothing. The weight of the decision pressed on me. My heart ached, my mind raced, and I knew the moment of clarity had come. I had to tell her. It was the hardest conversation I ever imagined. I tried to explain without causing pain, to express the depth of my feelings while revealing the impossibility of our situation. I told her my life was a storm I couldn't calm, a path I couldn't step off, and that if I truly cared for her, the kindest act was to let her go. That decision shattered me inside, as if a part of me walked away with her. Yet, as impossible as it was, I knew it was right. Because love isn't possession. Love isn't convenience. Love is giving someone the chance to flourish, even if that means stepping aside. I walked away that night carrying a pain I could barely describe. The city felt emptier than ever. Every street, every shadow reminded me of what I'd lost, not because she was gone, but because I chose what was right, even at the cost of my own happiness. In that moment, I learned a lesson I carry still: moral courage is often quiet, uncelebrated, and lonely. The hardest choices aren't made for the world to see, they're the private decisions that define who you are when no one else is watching. Sometimes, the bravest act of love is not holding on, but letting go. After that night, everything changed, not outwardly, but inside me in ways words can't capture. Walking away from someone I loved felt like leaving a piece of myself behind. It was legal. It was morally right. And yet, it left a void no success or dream could fill. For weeks, I found myself revisiting the same street corners where we'd walked, remembering laughter, quiet talks, the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke of her passions. Every memory was beautiful yet piercing, a double-edged sword. The world moved on, unaware of the storm inside me. Friends noticed subtle changes, my distance, my moments lost in thought. I smiled and said I was fine, but inside, I replayed every moment, every choice, wondering if I'd truly done the right thing. My mind swung between relief, knowing I acted with integrity, and grief, mourning the love I lost. Sleepless nights came, filled with questions. Could I have been more present? Could I have chosen differently? Then, as if punishing myself, I imagined her future with someone else. Though I wanted to feel joy for her, all I felt was the ache of absence, the emptiness of a life I could have shared but chose not to. Yet, in that pain was clarity. Some choices are bigger than desire or comfort. Morality and responsibility demand sacrifice, not for applause, but for the well-being of someone you love. Accepting that truth shaped how I understood love and commitment forever. I realized love isn't possession or constant proximity. True love means choosing what's best for the other person, even when it breaks your own heart. That understanding became a lens through which I view all relationships, friends, family, colleagues. Because if you can't act with care and moral clarity in love, how can you claim to do so anywhere else? Loneliness pressed heavily at times. I questioned if stepping away was worth it. Was the pain a punishment for being too cautious, too moral, too unwilling to chase personal happiness at all costs. But then I remembered her face the night I left, the subtle relief mixed with sadness, the unspoken understanding that I spared her future suffering. That image became my quiet reassurance. Months passed. Life moved relentlessly forward. I kept building, creating, dreaming, now with a new awareness of responsibility not just to projects or ambition, but to the people who touch my life in ways no success can measure. Though the ache never fully left, it became part of me, a reminder that moral courage is often lonely, and the hardest decisions rarely earn applause. In that solitude, I learned some victories are invisible. The world may never see them, but internally, they shape you more profoundly than any public success. They teach empathy, patience, and the quiet power of doing what's right, even when it hurts. That painful, necessary choice to step away from someone I loved deeply became a defining moment, not because it made headlines, but because it taught me the weight and complexity of true responsibility, love without possession, and the dignity of moral integrity. Years later, I still feel the echo of that decision. It surfaces in quiet moments when the world slows, and I'm alone with my thoughts. I remember the warmth of her hand, the sound of her laughter filling rooms, the way she looked at me as if I were the only person in existence. Then I remember the choice I made, the choice to walk away, and the weight presses down again, sharp and unrelenting. It wasn't easy. Doubts crept in. Loneliness wrapped around me so tightly I could barely breathe. I wondered if I'd been too cautious, too afraid of imperfection, too willing to deny my own happiness for what I thought was right. I thought about reaching out, reversing the decision, reclaiming the love I surrendered. But deep inside, I knew that would be selfish, valuing my desire over her life, her future, and the respect she deserved. I replayed conversations, searching for missed paths or compromises. But the truth was clear, no path existed that didn't compromise her happiness. Settling for less than she deserved would have corroded us both. The harder, morally correct choice was to step away entirely, to protect her, even if it left me hollow. Yet, that hollowness was paradoxically full of lessons, empathy, and a deeper understanding of loving without ownership. Love isn't measured by presence alone. It's measured by the courage to put someone else first, even at the cost of your own heart. That realization reshaped how I approach relationships, decisions, and life itself, where stakes aren't profit or success, but human beings. Temptation to return was almost unbearable at times. To explain, to bridge the gap I created. But imagining the consequences, the disruption, confusion, pain my selfish return would cause, clarified the truth. True love sometimes means maintaining distance. True love sometimes means silently enduring your own pain so someone else may flourish. Living with this choice forced me to confront the fragility of happiness. I once believed life would bend to ambition, that effort could shape circumstances. But moral decisions are different. They can't be optimized or engineered. They demand patience, endurance, and acceptance of uncontrollable consequences. That responsibility humbled me more than any external success. Over time, the ache softened, becoming a quiet presence, a reminder that choices define character, integrity isn't always rewarded, and profound love is often shown in absence. The heart's hardest victories are invisible, private triumphs of conscience, courage, and empathy. I carry this story still, as a guide, a moral compass, a benchmark for difficult decisions. If I could make that choice once, when my own happiness was at stake, I know I can do what's right in every situation, no matter how painful, lonely, or difficult. That love, that choice, that struggle continue to influence me, shaping how I treat everyone who entrusts me with a piece of their life. Living with moral integrity isn't a one-time act. It defines every moment after. Though I sometimes ache for what I lost, I'm grateful for the clarity, growth, and understanding that pain brought. It taught me, shaped me, and strengthened me in ways nothing else could. Now, when faced with choices testing morality, responsibility, or love, I hear the echo of that moment, reminding me the right choice is often the hardest. And that's why it matters. That choice, to step away when my heart screamed to stay, shaped me beyond imagination. It taught me the right path is rarely easy, that love and morality entwine with sacrifice, and true courage is measured by quiet, principled decisions made in private. Life will always present moments of moral complexity, choices where every option carries pain, where every outcome demands something from your heart. In those moments, clarity doesn't come from desire, convenience, or logic. It comes from asking, what is right for the other person, for the greater good, and for my own integrity? If I could offer advice to anyone facing a moral choice, it would be this: lean into the discomfort. Don't avoid it, numb it, or rationalize it away. Sit with it. Feel it fully. The weight of a decision often guides you toward the choice that defines your character, not just your life. Second, accept that pain is part of integrity. Doing what's right may hurt deeply and relentlessly. That's not failure, it's alignment with your principles. Sometimes the hardest path leaves marks not just on your life, but on your soul. Third, understand love isn't possession. True love respects freedom, values well-being, and sometimes sacrifices closeness so the other person can thrive. Mastering this brings a strength no achievement or applause can give. Finally, remember invisible victories matter. The world may never see or applaud them, but they define you. They shape your conscience, empathy, and future decisions. In the long run, they're the victories you carry, quiet, unheralded, and powerful. So, when the world demands more than you can give, when your heart is torn between desire and duty, stand firm. Listen to that quiet voice inside, the one that knows what's right even when it's hardest to follow. Because living with integrity isn't about applause. It's about peace. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you acted with honor, even when no one else could see it. If this story resonated with you, if it reminded you of a choice you made or will make, share it with someone who needs to hear that the hardest choices are often the most meaningful. And if you want to hear more stories about moral courage, integrity, and life's difficult lessons, hit subscribe. The journey of learning, growing, and choosing wisely never truly ends. Have you ever faced a moral choice that scared you? One that forced you to weigh your happiness against what was right for someone else?